bit competitive. I'm a competitor. You know, I went to the Ohio State University, who were the national champions. All you SEC fans, sorry. But so this is the competition. You got to pay attention if you want to win. So the prize. Well, first let me tell you what the success criteria is: high frequency of speaking, confidence, and high quality either comments or questions. That's the success criteria. That everybody can participate. The person who I feel best exhibits that, I will treat to lunch. They get to pick the place. Wow. You can order whatever you want on the menu.
Oh!
I'm about to get some lobster.
Now, I might have $1 value limit in mind. If it gets crazy, then I can say you're crazy. But I'm willing to, depending on how you play, I'm willing to stretch. All right? Does everybody understand the rules?
Yes.
What?
In what city, state, and country?
In Cincinnati area. Not flying you anywhere. Not paying for your travel. Not buying a limo. All right? So that starts now. Why am I making this a competition? Okay, why else?
Leadership is competitive to get full-time offer.
Very good. Yes. All right, it's competitive. And what is it? If you're exhibiting all those things in a meeting, how are you going to be showing up?
Strong, like a valuable candidate for the job.
Right, like you're meant to be here, like you work here, right? You ever been in a meeting or a discussion where you can't get a word in? You guys ever been in a group like that where everybody's trying to talk and you're bottling? It's like, dude, can I get in? Can I say? And it's about influence, who's in the room, who's the popular one, or who has the high seniority. That's how it works here. So practicing on how you can talk, speak confidently, have something worth saying, those are important skills. I find that as I'm coming into oral care, how am I going to get in? Who's saying what? What are they saying? So what can I bring unique to the table? So important skills. So and that's only for my presentation. So Gerald has to come up with something else for his if he wants to make it the competition. So it stops at the end of mine. All right. So I'm gonna start it off a little bit differently than last year because I know some of you've seen my presentation before. Tell me some of the things that you guys are good at. What are you good at?
Dancing.
Okay, dancing. What else? What are some things you guys are good at?
Playing the alto saxophone.
All right, I'm a saxophone player. Okay.
He trying to get
What else? What else? I know it's a talented group.
I'm good at organizing things and planning.
Okay. Anybody else? FIFA? Soccer?
Video game.
Oh, okay. Okay. God, you're having some trouble right now. So you got to get on there.
Like getting people to work together.
Okay. For the people who answered, or for anybody, what makes you good at those things? Practice. Skill set. What else?
Your natural ability.
Very good. So we heard kind of a practice in the skills and natural ability. This is a great segue. So there's things called talent and skills. So talent is like what you're born with, what you're made with, what genes that you have, how you were built and made. And the skill is the ability you must work hard to acquire. You have to put in work to acquire a skill. All right? So tell me some examples of skills and talents.
A skill would be like your technical mastery.
Okay, very good. Other skills or talents?
Skills like leadership.
Okay, yep.
A talent.
He's playing for real. This guy's playing. Look, don't be ashamed. It's a competition. Look, it's for real. I like it. All right, you hungry.
A talent could be like your interpersonal skills, like how well you can work a room.
Okay.
For example.
Excellent. All right. So almost everything is a skill. Most things with practice you can get better. Even intelligence. You know, you think, oh, intelligence, that's how smart I am. But actually, the way that intelligence is measured, like IQ tests and SATs, whatever kind of tests, however you want, actually you can get better at it by practicing. So sometimes we have a misconception that we're born with this limitation, that we can only get so good because this is what we're born with. But in reality, it's about what kind of time that you put into it. So intelligence, mathematics, music, these are all examples of skills. So it matters because sometimes you might be giving up on yourself because you think that you're not a leader. You think that you're not really technical, or you don't understand chemistry. But it's really about, have you put the time into it? Have you put the time into being a technical master? Because if you put in the time, and most people who are world class in any kind of event, whether it's track and field, music, entertainer, they put in tons of time. And normally, if you put in a lot of time, a lot of focused effort, you can be better than most people around you. But if you don't think that you can, I'm limited from, you know, I'm a new intern, or whatever it is, your story can automatically limit you from being what you can and should be because of your own self-limitation. So I'm starting with this because intern evaluations, most of what you're doing here is acquiring skills and demonstrating them. So there really shouldn't be a lot of restrictions. It's really about how much effort, time, focus you put into it. So I want to make sure we're eliminating whatever preconceived notions that you have about yourself around, I don't know if I can do it, I don't know if I'm good, I don't know. You're here. You pass all the tests, you pass all the requirements. It's a blank canvas right now, and now it's time for you to shine and deliver. Does that make sense? You guys heard this before? Okay. I mean, it's kind of like if you believe it, you can achieve it, but it's really saying, are you limiting yourself from what you can achieve? So it's really important. So some of this we've already talked. What is the evaluations based on? Your 5 rocks, success drivers, PVPs, pie model. I'm not going to go into that. Here's the different elements of the evaluation. You know, how are you understanding how your project impacts the business? How are you demonstrating capability, obtaining, analyzing data? We talked about data analysis here. How are you thinking and hypothesizing? Who knows what hypothesizing means?
Theory.
Okay, give me an example. Well, give me an example of a hypothesis.
So say you're doing an experiment on what type of candy kids would choose. And so the people around me like chocolate, so I think most kids would choose chocolate. And then you run the experiment and you see if they choose chocolate.
Excellent. Did you guys get what he said?
Yes.
That is really important point, to have a hypothesis. Even just using a word. I have a hypothesis that our 3D white mint will prevent stains. That's Lacey's project. I have a hypothesis that this hairstyling product will maintain your curls for 60 days. I'm going to go test that. Probably won't do that, but maybe for 6 hours. Having a hypothesis and then testing that is a really important part of the scientific process, and it gets you a lot of points, especially if it's a hypothesis on an area that's really important and central to your project. So these are things and words that you should be saying and concepts that you should be using as you go through your project. These are just kind of different ways to think about your success drivers. You know, power of mind, showing your thinking style, your technical curiosity, your reports, how you're presenting your technical data. We talked about hypothesis. How are you connecting with people? How are you collaborating to get work done? How are you seeking help from experts? One thing we talked about, the experts, the senior technologists could make or break your project and what people think about you. Even if they're not on your list, if you haven't talked to a senior technologist that's in your group or in your area that's an expert on what you're doing, and you get up on your final presentation, and you start talking, and they ask you a really hard question, and you haven't talked to them all whole summer, you're stumbling, and this person's like, I don't think they can cut it. You've missed an opportunity. You should have talked to them. You should have took some of their ideas, incorporated that into it. They are a big key influencer that you got to make sure you're taking advantage of, both managers and technologists. Showing initiative and leadership. We've talked a lot about that, thinking ahead, planning for the future. Being prepared for change. This can also, there's going to be changes and hurdles and obstacles are guaranteed in your project. Now you can say, I couldn't get my project done because equipment failed. So now I'm sitting and waiting for them to fix it for 3 weeks. I have nothing to do. And I couldn't, and so I didn't get all my results. So all I can share for my PowerPoint presentation at the end is what I was going to do if the machine worked. Is that a good summer? What would be a great summer is, wow, this thing failed. I found another piece of equipment in another part of the city or a different business unit. It actually has better equipment capabilities. I got better results that this area has never seen, or had to go find a new supplier outside and buy a piece of equipment. Whatever it is, we always have problems at P&G. That's what we do, solve problems in R&D. So having an obstacle is serving it up for you about how are you going to get past it and not let it get in the way of your project, because that's what P&G does. All these initiatives we do, taking things from a molecule or an idea to a product that we can sell across the world, is riddled with problems that we have to overcome. So you should be able to do that within your program. And there's people here to help you to do that. So the components of the assessment, what are your results? They're going to talk about what are your strengths and opportunity areas. What are you doing well? These are things that you should be asking throughout your summer. You can already start, people who've been here a week, you can already ask now, how's it going so far? What are some things that you have, thought that I've done well this week? How do you feel like I've engaged with the organization? What are things you would like to see me do more of? You got to ask specific questions to get specific answers. If you just ask people, how am I doing? And they say, fine. And you ask that question every week, do you think you're going to be getting good feedback and elevating your performance? You have to ask specific questions. Someone give me an example of a specific question that you can ask after your second week to your manager.
Okay. Well, I was going to think a little bit further down the line.
Okay.
So like after you've done a test or something, usually I write reports on it, and then I'll present it to my manager. Like, do you think my analysis was thorough enough? Do you think I looked at all possible, all angles? What do you think of that? So that was a question I asked.
Okay, good.
You can ask, are you on track? Is this the direction that you saw the project going in? If not, how can we realign or something like that?
Okay.
I would say asking based on at this point I'm at my experimental design, so I could ask something like, are these the variables that I'm planning on testing? Are these valuable to the project, to the group's work, etc.?
Okay.
You can ask what are some areas that you would like to see me to take more initiative in?
I like it. Very good. So the quality of your questions is really important. Your overall statement. This is kind of at a midpoint or at your final presentation. What do they say about you? It's usually a one sentence line or actually it's multiple sentences, but the first line is usually a summary statement of how well you're doing. And then there's the performance. Exceeding expectations, performing strong, meeting expectations, somewhat below. Of course, you have to be exceeding or meeting, or else you're off track. Fit with PVPs, offerability, and signatures. Now I was thinking about this coming up here. I'm gonna challenge all of you to do something maybe you're already doing. By the end of next week, I want you to write your performance review for the end of the summer. I want you to write what are those 2 to 4 sentences that you want your manager to write about you at the end. You can work this with your mentor, but that puts into view what you need to do to get to your final end goal. It should not be a surprise. And everything you're doing every week should be in service of, am I exceeding expectations? Did I deliver this technical model and analysis 2 weeks before it was asked? Did I come up with a new insight? Each of you should have a very stretching performance review for yourself, and you should live into that review. And by the end, you should be like, yeah, this is exactly what I envisioned happening. Now, if you write, I did a good job or I did okay, and that's what you're going to do. And you should know where you're heading. And you can use that to kind of guide the questions. I know there's people who said, I want to make sure I'm doing a stretching assignment. You write that for yourself. You know that you're learning the project better than anyone else. You can test that with your mentors and your technical experts around what would be stretching, and then live on to that performance review throughout the summer. So this is the way the sheet looks like. You have your strengths and opportunity areas. It's really important that you should be knowing what some of this looks like before you actually get to your midpoint, which is the first time, not the first time, but it'll be the first formal assessment of your summer. And as we said, you need to be exceeding expectations for both, midpoint and your summer. And ideally, we talked about fast start this whole summer. You want to be hitting this fast start from the very, very beginning, because if you start off, missing or, just meeting at the midpoint, it's really hard to overcome that. And you're working uphill because other people might have been exceeding from the very beginning. And then at the end, you're going to be getting recommended on whether you're coming back or not, which is all based on the performance review. So really important. Are you guys familiar with these sheets? Did they go through this for the new interns? Have you seen this before? You should ask your manager for what does a version of it look like. We can send out one to you. But you should be familiar with what am I going to be judged against? What are some of the language that, I didn't expect you to do that. Wow, that's exceeding. If it's like, I was expecting you to be further along in this. Where does that fall on the expectations charts? People are saying that. Or can you tell me where this is? If a manager's asking these kind of questions, where do you think you're heading on the performance spectrum? If a manager's asking you, where's this? They come to talk to you every, 2 or 3 times a week. Hey, can you tell me where we are on this? How do you think you're doing?
You're not meeting your expectations.
Probably not meeting. Why is that? What should you be doing? They should know, right? They should even know directly from you or from their daily coach, or if the section head is asking. So what if a manager says, "Wow, what is that? Where is that on the spectrum? Wow, I didn't expect that." Exceeding, right? So you should be listening for these kind of words. Well, that's surprising. Could be good or bad. If it's surprising that you haven't gotten trained for the lag. That's surprising. Okay. But listen to the cues. You don't have to get to the midpoint to start to understand how you're tracking, but you need to be listening for body language too. Now body language can talk about some cultural bias that people have, which exists. There might be a manager who comes from a different background than you that maybe they're uncomfortable. That's human nature. We know that exists in the world. People have cultural bias. There's also body language like, wow, I'm just not really liking what your performance. I'm pushing back, or I'm not asking a lot of questions. Maybe I've already made up my mind about you, how good you are and what you're going to deliver. And maybe I'm hearing what this other intern is doing. So read body language. All this is data that you're getting. The word choices, the body language. But you should be using all of that to kind of get an assessment for how you're tracking throughout the summer. Meeting expectations, we talked about that, very strong, positive. So this is really important. To be exceptional or very strong, first, your results need to be favorable, has to be beneficial, has to be moving in a direction and objective of the project. It should be unexpected, meaning that you're doing something that wasn't necessarily in your 5 rocks. Something, maybe it was an insight, maybe it was you got to something faster, maybe you found a new connection with someone outside of your category, or you found a new expert, or you found some literature online that applies to your project. Somehow there should be something unexpected about it, because otherwise you just did what we expected you to do, right? And this is the same as when people here for full-time. This is not the way we're assessing you is just how people get assessed here at P&G who work here. If you want to be 1-rated person, which is the top rating, what are you doing something above and beyond what was expected? And then the last thing, it should be significant. It should have some meaning or value to the program. If you found an insight that is only valuable to a product category that we're not in, interesting, but does it really matter to us in P&G? So as you think about how you prioritize your work, finding things that have broad, significant value to P&G that's unexpected. That's positive. That's how you get to be exceptional. And actually, there could be multiple people who are exceptional. And then it's like how significant it becomes, right? Maybe there's multiple interns that are exceptional. What if everybody's exceptional and they still only have X many slots? They still have to figure out a way to break that. So this is kind of like you're trying to ramp up all these different elements. Someone give me an example of what would be unexpected in your project. What would be positive, unexpected, significant? Somebody give an example. Yeah.
So I'm working on the interactions between like the bowel movement and skin and diaper, but we're also working in skin and beauty. And I was wondering maybe we could develop a method that looks at moisture content and how that works. And I'm pretty sure someone in skin probably has a way to already do that because moisture is a big part of their project.
So that would be something new and unexpected for your category.
Right.
By leveraging something from somewhere else. Excellent. Another example.
So in my project I'm working on, we have a brand new shampoo formulation for Pantene, and I want to make sure that it looks as good as it's working now. So my whole job is to fix the aesthetics of it. They previously looked at gold mica, which has a huge problem with clean out. Our current procedures can't clean gold mica out of our tanks, so they've kind of scrapped the idea. And they've also looked at large particle EGDS. It's a not going to go into the straight, obviously. But problem with that is it's messing up the viscosity of our shampoo. So unexpected would be figuring out a way to use the mica or the large particle EGDS. By finding, I've already been looking into like coated mica particles that would be able to be cleaned out more easily.
Good. One more example. Lacey.
So part of my project has to do with developing demos for 3D white rinse, and that's through varying concentrations of glass H or peroxide and measuring, I think exceeding that expectation would not only be showing the degree of whiteness, but what that exact measure is, which could possibly be done through color testing like LED.
Very good. Great. So you should be, as a part of your performance review that you're all going to write, there should be something unexpected you're writing in there that you already know based on what you've learned. That could be an area. That could be, a place that you can focus. Okay. So for those who were here last year, we had some examples. I've changed the names and I've changed the categories. So I would like for you to read the example. And then I'm gonna get your feedback on, where it fits from a suggestion, or how would I bucketize the different areas, and then whether you think this person is exceeding, meeting, below expectations. So take a few moments to read. A lot of information. Have y'all had a chance to read through it? Mm-hmm. Okay, so what are some of Jared's strengths based on what you've read so far?
He's proactive and not afraid to lead.
Very good. Leadership, proactivity. What else?
He's a very quick learner and actually gets on speed very quickly and dives into the material very early in his work.
Quick learner. Very good. Do you think that's important as an intern to be a quick learner? Good.
Flexibility.
Say more.
Well, in the blue box, it said that he was experiencing problems with some equipment, and he went the extra mile to find a way to fix it, actually acquire the equipment, and be able to readjust and move on.
Very good. And this will happen probably to half of you. I know there's people in this room it's happened to before. Equipment or something didn't work the way you expected. How are you going to act in this way, being flexible to overcome proposed solutions versus it being stopped by that? Anything else you guys picked up from this?
He has the ability to think outside the box, like he's not confined by the standard thinking in P&G. Like in the second scenario, they said, "Oh, the line can't run all the conditions that we got." So like, well, let's change it up and let's not just be defined by what we already have established.
Okay. Where would you rate this person if you're his section head? What do you think?
For the second one, I feel like he exceeded expectations.
Okay.
Mainly because, first of all, he got a realignment. Even though he did start off kind of slow, he got a realignment. He did things like without people having to. He had initiative.
Okay.
In the first one, it was just like he kind of went by the books almost. Like he didn't really talk to anybody. He just kind of did everything his Five Rocks told him to do.
Okay.
And in the last one, he was just kind of reactive to everything that was going on and didn't really get much done.
Okay. Anyone else? What do you think? Is it strong? You say maybe not.
Oh no, I was asking. I was wondering what you meant by "is it strong?"
Well, I'm saying so we talked about the assessment exceeding expectation or exceptional, very strong. Where would he rank? Is this someone who's going to be a top intern, do you think, in his area? What do you say?
Okay, wait, I have a quick question. This
Yeah.
might be a dumb question. I'm going to ask it. So these are 3 different boxes. Are we looking at 3 different scenarios of Jared, or are we looking at Jared?
So this was a person. This was Jared, the person.
Okay, gotcha.
But I wasn't going to stop if he was saying there's something within this that maybe was above. So you mentioned that this part of it is what made it exceptional, but maybe these other 2 things were standard. So it is one person,
Okay, gotcha.
but that's just how he referred to the boxes. Yes.
I think he's exceptionally strong, especially in him identifying a new relationship. It says like in the end of the last one, between the fluid and bed baffle configuration, and I think that's something that we've talked about. I know numerous occasions, like hiring interns for their new perspective. So maybe that's something that someone hadn't picked up that relationship before. So I think that's something that would be unexpected when he delivers his results.
Okay. What do you say?
I think for the third one, I wanted to say he just met them, but I think the fact that he met them in such a timely manner makes it exceptional, but I'm not.
Okay. All right, so these are kind of how I would think about the different elements that he worked on. So the fact that he kind of understood these different conditions and he identified a new relationship, that's leveraging his mastery. He didn't just take what he had, he kind of created something new from that. Operating with discipline was how he was tracking on his time and actually making sure he was on time or ahead of time. And then leading, the fact that he ran into some issues, he had to influence others around him and then go outside to kind of resolve it. That's leadership. So if I took this all together, I would say he's very strong, exceptional. Probably exceptional. I think this, maybe to your point, this was what did it. This is not normal for an intern to be able to do so much to change and enable a new process, and it's really difficult to do because you don't have a lot of time and equipment takes a lot of time to order. So if he was able to achieve that, I would say that would be exceptional. Okay? Next one. Take a few moments to read. What do you think about Brianna? What's some of her strengths?
She's willing to talk to everyone. I think that that's something that's unique about P&G, that all of the different roles interact with each other somehow. She forced them all to come together to figure out the best to fix it.
Okay, great. What else?
I think that she shows some strong leadership and initiative, because she not only found a new cap, but she also developed a new test for that cap, and she was conscious of the business impact of her prototype. So I thought that was quite exceptional.
Okay. What you saying?
I
Yeah,
think
you work in Pac there, so you know some of this.
I think Brianna took a very comprehensive approach to her internship. I think that she was proactive. I think she collaborated, and I think she not only showed technical curiosity but technical penetration by not just using the methods that were already out there, but developing a new test method. And then I think one of the biggest things is that that people have already said, but she was willing to like work cross-functionally across like the different functions that exist probably within her BU, but also across different BUs as well. So she had a very sort of like multilateral approach to attacking her project.
Okay. What else? There's a new element that she touched on that Jared did not. Actually, this is a new area that I just put into this case study that I haven't included in years past. What is it? Something that's important to P&G right now. It's always important, but what is it?
The annual cost savings?
Cost savings, yes. Cost savings. Yes, so if there's a way, if you can deliver better and cheaper, even better. I mean, maybe some of you are on cost savings projects, but if you can think about making it better for consumers and making it cheaper, that's an added bonus. So, always be thinking about, well, if I'm creating a product, is this cheaper than what I had before? How can I make it even better for consumers and cheaper? And you think about, another word to think about is legacy. What's the legacy that she's leaving when she leaves for the summer? Will it have been any different, her being here, or not? What legacy is Brianna leaving in her organization?
Her prototype was successful, so like they have they have a better performing and a cheaper cap, and that's like a pretty huge thing to leave behind, especially as an intern.
Yeah. What else? Anything else?
Her testing method, like, doesn't it say they implemented her testing method? So like now, kind of like whenever they resort to the testing method, they'll kind of like think of her since she was the one to kind of lead the way and create that.
Yeah. What else?
Well, from what I've heard, some of us might have to write in SLR at the end of our summer.
Yep.
So when she writes her SLR and she has the specific prototype for the cap, and if somebody wants to come back and look, and they'll see her name on it, they'll automatically think that she was the intern that changed the game of caps.
Yeah. That's right. So these are just the ways that, how I think about the different blocks hit. She's leaving a very strong legacy. She's one of the interns that people are like, wow, can we just keep you here? Because some of the stuff that she's doing, full-time people might not be doing. Every full-time employee is not necessarily developing a great test method every day. Sometimes these things are really hard and difficult. So think about the legacy. If the place is different because you were there, you've made a progress, you've left a legacy, a test method that maybe could live on for years to come, or a cap, a new cap that's in the marketplace that becomes a new platform for toothpaste. That's huge. So you think about what will the legacy be for you that you can leave as a part of your program, that the place will be different because you were here. I mean, that's the impact we all want to have. That's why a lot of us want to work at P&G. We want to see our ideas, our products get on the shelf, and we can tell everybody around the world that that's what we did, and we created that. So she would definitely be exceptional. Is this frozen? No, it's not working. Okay. So final reminders. Do your best. Don't hold back. It's all within you. You just got to work hard. Strive for positive, unexpected, significant results. Ask a lot of questions. Be open to feedback, whether it's nonverbal feedback, word choice feedback. Doesn't always have to be a formal question, but be open to it. Listen for it from both your managers and people around you. Manager image and reputation, we talked about that. Falling asleep or wearing inappropriate clothes that draw the wrong attention. That's reality to others who don't know you, so that you don't want that to be your story. It's okay to make mistakes, don't repeat mistakes. Try to make, if you have to make them better early than late. Learn from them. Show how you learn from your mistakes. If you suspect you might be in trouble, which is even now, you could be in trouble. It's possible. If you've fallen asleep in every meeting you've been in, you're probably in trouble. Better to get help, call, like we said, people last summer at people's houses till midnight. If that's what it takes, ask for help. If you want to be successful here, you have to put in the effort, okay? And if you're in trouble, you want to get out of that as soon as possible. It's still early. Finally, the purpose of P&G, purpose of an internship at P&G, you're evaluating this as a company as well as we're evaluating you. So you should be asking yourself, am I enjoying what I'm doing? Can I see a career for myself here? You want to feel like, wow, this is a company that I can see myself grow and I would be happy, as well as Cincinnati. So that's the end. And I was keeping score. And I'm going to have to go with, how do you say your name again?
Just call me the Doc.
The Doc?
Just Doc.
Doc,
Yes.
Okay. Congratulations. You did a great job. He asked a lot of questions right from the beginning. He was asking quality questions too. And I think he probably raised his hand up every time. So, important skill to learn, to make sure you're speaking up, you're saying quality, and you're demonstrating confidence. So, thank you.